Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we share comments and headlines, ideas, suggestions, all kinds of fun stuff that we can piece together so that we can have a connected life here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. Today is Monday, June the 20th, and it is a pleasure to get together with you today, although I might say I have a cold. So I went all day long yesterday thinking that allergies were taking the best of me. And this morning I came to realize that I have a cold. And you have no idea how comforting it is in this day and age of COVID craziness to just have a good old-fashioned no frills cold. I have the headache, I have the shivers, I have the sneezes, and I'm sure it's going to be fine in a couple of days. So if I seem a little bit wonky, it's because I have a little bit of a cold, but I'm not alarmed by it, and neither should you be. Anyhow, today, Monday, we have, oh my God, watching the news this morning or going through news this morning was a lot of fun because it's one of those days in which sometimes the news provide common threads, and the common thread today is that the news are uncertain for clarity and uncertain for accuracy. And you'll see what I mean once we get into the news. But before that, we are going to welcome people, friends that have not watched live before, to share your status that you're joining us for the first time, if you would like to do so by adding the word new to your comment. That way we will give you a nice, proper welcome. And if you have something truly important that you wish to share with us, something that we don't want to miss during the broadcast, if you add a capital letter Q, it'll be a lot easier to find your comment once we're done with the broadcast. Once we're done with the news and we get into the chit-chat. You see, I'm a little loopy, but all is well. Let's get started with the news and we'll take it from there. Okay, so this one, let us start. Oh my God. Well, okay, before we do the news, I see a newbie, Vic. Hello, Vic. It's nice to see that you're a newbie. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure everybody else will help us welcoming you to the broadcast. And now let us take a look at that bit of news. For starters, Puerto Vallarta's Mayor Michelle and the Mayor of Cabo Corrientes, Miguel Ángel Silva, got together to try to figure out what to do to improve the pier at Boca de Tomatlan. Now, what's wrong with this bit of news? Well, we have just announced, not even 3 days ago or 5 days ago, in the last week, that the director of beach tourism clearly said that a new pier was coming. And we also heard from the port captain that this pier is beyond repair. So if the pier is beyond repair, like it's not even worth doing a temporary something to fix it, why is our mayor meeting with the mayor of Cabo Corrientes, which is where the pier is located, to try to find a solution? So either there's no pier coming to Puerto Vallarta or to Boca de Tomatlan in the near future, or the mayors didn't get the memo. We don't know. All we know is that A, the pier continues to be of risk. B, we don't have any date for a new pier. And C, now we hear that both mayors are trying to come up with something. What do you make of that? Please feel free to leave a comment, and we'll dissect it later on. Moving right along, if you feel an urge to go on a quickie shopping trip to the United States, or maybe this is just an urge particularly shared by Mexican nationals, the option becomes easier with a direct flight between Puerto Vallarta and McAllen, Texas, that could be formalized in the near future. This bit of news was published by Noticias PB, and that's lovely. But you see, the next bit of news, which was also published by Noticias PB, says that the city of McAllen just sent dignitaries down to Puerto Vallarta to meet Mayor Michel and his team to set in motion a plan to develop a sisterhood between both cities. Now, here's the funny bit, because in this article, Ludwig Estrada, who is the tourism director for Puerto Vallarta, is quoted saying, "Presently, we have a direct flight from Puerto Vallarta to McAllen, and we welcome Texas tourists while McAllen welcomes Puerto Vallarta folk that go shopping there." So, do we have a flight or not? I could not tell you because I have no plans to go to McAllen. Hold on. I have no plans to go to McAllen anytime in the near future. And again, I think it's really odd that both news items were published by the same company. So you'd think that they would talk to one another in terms of what they're going to publish. Is there a flight between Puerto Vallarta and McAllen, Texas? You tell me if you happen to know the answer to that question. Meanwhile, the number of passengers arriving in Puerto Vallarta continues to increase even this time of year, according to numbers provided by the international airport, claiming, and these are very interesting numbers, check it out, claiming that last month, Puerto Vallarta received a total of 489,000 airline passengers, whereas in the same month in 2019, prior to the pandemic, Puerto Vallarta received 362,200 passengers. So that shows a 35% increase for the same period, from before the pandemic to now. Now, here's where things get interesting. The increment is mostly related to the Mexican national market, which represented 233,100 passengers last month against 157,800 passengers in 2019, or a 47.8% increase. Meanwhile, international arrivals brought in 255,900 passengers to Puerto Vallarta last month against 204,500 passengers in 2019, or an increase of 25.2%. What is the takeaway here? The takeaway is that the largest increase in airline passengers coming to Puerto Vallarta, particularly this time of year, is Mexican nationals. Mexican nationals. So you'd think that given those numbers, local businesses here in Puerto Vallarta that are in the habit of communicating in English with their clientele, and only English, not in Spanish, and you know who you are, would begin to think differently, right? Food for thought. Now, here's an editorial about COVID that I thought was a little bit alarmist, but I think it's still interesting to analyze the numbers presented within. This article tells us about the numbers of cases, daily cases of COVID In January, 236, and these are numbers for the state of Jalisco. Hold on just a second. Let me clear my throat again. Okay. Okay, so numbers for Jalisco. Um, let's see. There were 2,749 daily cases in January. In February, the number increased to 2,818. Then in March, it decreased to 513. In April, it went down to 211. In May, it went down to 125. But in June, in this month, it is increasing to 351 daily cases of COVID. And then the numbers get shown for Puerto Vallarta only. In January, 181 daily cases. In February, 105. In March, 25. In April, only 6. Then it increased to 7 in May. And now in June, it says that we have an average of 24 daily cases of COVID. So, are the numbers increasing? Clearly, yes. But the article then goes to say it's a little strange that Governor Alfaro is not being proactive about these numbers, considering the fact that he's been proactive in the past. So, again, is this cause for alarm? Personally, I don't think so. Are the numbers increasing? Yes. Is COVID seeming to be less of a hospitalization issue, less of a mortality issue? Again, that seems to be the case. Should we worry about this? Well, we should continue to be mindful of our surroundings and act accordingly and take good care of ourselves, as we know to do. Yesterday, I had to hop on a bus to go into town, and I was waiting for the bus, and the first bus that came in looked like a can of sardines. So I simply said, no, I'm not going to hop on that bus. And I waited for the next one, and that was the end of it. So as long as we have a choice to do these kinds of things, we can choose to be proactive. We don't need to wait for the governor or the government to be proactive about these things. And that's just my humble opinion and my humble wish for anybody that is watching. Now, let's turn over to the weather forecast. Woohoo! So, Snarky Weather says, honestly, I'm just throwing darts at a big board with a bunch of different weather conditions on it. Ha ha ha. That is snarky. Where is this? There it is. 27 degrees, feels like 31. Humidity is at 89%. Our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 81, and our weather forecast. Sorry about that. Wrong button. Our weather forecast for today says possible light rain overnight with a high of 31, a low of 24. Tomorrow, Tuesday, possible light rain in the morning with a high of 30 and a low of 24. And Wednesday, rain in the evening and overnight with a high of 31 and a low of 24. Nothing majorly concerning, so there you have it. Moving right along, I have 3 more things that I wish to share with you before we move into our comment section. The first one is, 4 things. The first one is, number 1, just a humble reminder that Highway 200 northbound, or on the north side of the city, the highway between La Cruz de Guanacaxtle and Sayulita will be temporarily closed starting today during the evening hours for some improvements. There is an alternative route going through Punta Mita and Litibu and so forth and so on. But there you have it. We talked about this either on Friday or Saturday. If you have to head up north, just be mindful of this. Then I'm happy to say that according to this article, the Via Recreativa, or recreational path that was opened in Grandes Lagos Avenue in Fluvial yesterday was very successful. And there are some photos to share here. Let's take a quick look. This is something that came back to Puerto Vallarta after 2 years. A day on a Sunday in which the city closes. Come on, photos. You worked fine a little while ago. Are you not going to work for me while we are broadcasting? There you go. So there you go. We have photos of people having fun. This is happening on Sunday mornings on Grandes Lagos Avenue. This is, of course, the big governmental inauguration, and of course, the ever so important speeches, um, so forth and so on. People doing exercise, yay! And there was even a martial arts thing going on. So, anyhow, if you have a bicycle, if you want to go and exercise with other locals, you can do this during Sundays. I should go back to bed right after this, shouldn't I? Anyhow, the last thing I want to share with you, I suppose there's nothing as wonderful as connecting with your fans. And I was just delighted by this short video that I saw this morning here on Facebook, where I saw popular and acclaimed singer Lila Downs enjoying dinner or a meal at a restaurant in Tlaquepaque. There she is. And there was a live band playing one of her biggest successes, which is La Cumbia del Mole, or the Ode to Mole. This is a very popular song that I'm sure you've heard, and you maybe not know it very well. So this left me wondering if A, the band knew that she was there, or B, what was their reaction once they saw that she was there. Anyhow, if you don't know the Cumbia del Mole, I'm going to leave you with Lila Downs singing La Cumbia del Mole. This is a video from YouTube that we cannot play here because we don't want to upset YouTube. And now we take a quick look at your comments just to see what everybody is up to today. I am schwitzing. Let's see. Good morning, and more good mornings. And I love to see all of those. It makes me feel very good. More good mornings. Do. Many good mornings. I love it. Chicken soup. Thank you very much, Ramona. It's on the list. Thank you very much for that, Kresha. Again, I am sure it'll be gone in a couple of days. Oh, yes. It is too darn hot. I love it. And it's too darn hot down here as well. Let's see. Boom, boom. Many good mornings. Thank you very much. Happy Monday, everyone. We are so busy with medical appointments that we don't get to be here live very often anymore. That's okay, then. You guys are always here as far as I'm concerned. What else do we have? Alan says, time to build another runway. Well, maybe not. I understand from news that we've shared in the past that our airport has reached that critical point. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen there. Chris says, tea with honey and fresh squeezed lime. Thank you very much. I will certainly do something to that effect. Oh, Sue, I'm so sorry to hear that. Husband has COVID. When the mask mandate went away, he stopped wearing his, and now he's sick. He has both vaccines and one booster. I continue to wear mine almost everywhere. Good for you. And I hope your husband recovers very quickly. Oh, this is so funny. I'm sorry. I'm going to laugh with you, not at you, Mario. Hola from Las Vegas. Which is your recommendation for local news from Puerto Vallarta that we can read over here? You are in it. As far as I'm concerned, you are in it. Particularly if you want news in English. If you want news in Spanish, then there's all the places that we frequently refer to in our show notes. But if you want the best place for local news in Puerto Vallarta, I'm sorry, I have to praise myself because otherwise who else will? You are looking at it. This is it. If you find something better though, if you find something more of what you need or that you trust, by all means, feel free to share it with us because we are always looking for good and reliable sources of local information. Ba-dam, boom. Brian says, we went for a ride for the Via Recreativa. Was good, but not too busy. Mind you, we are not early risers. I hear you. My only concern, I was out and about yesterday in the morning, and the sun was really, really strong. So, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see what else. Get well. Appreciate your heroics. It's not heroics, Vic. It's actually part of my nourishment to spend time with you. It really is. Um, and Luisa now understands. Luisa, who just arrived in Puerto Vallarta a few days ago, now understands my comment that it's now 3 showers a day season. It absolutely is. Da 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 da. Mateo says McAllen is not good enough for you. Well, good for you, Mateo. Other people may think otherwise, and that's okay too. Let's see what else we have. King Midas says, I have heard rumors, and that's where I stop. You see, we don't do rumors here. So show me a headline, and then we will look at it. Da 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 da. Oh, what a fabulous idea. Grab a bowl of Ernesto's tortilla soup filled with chicken. Feel better. Thank you, Albert. I certainly will. Drink whiskey sours. It won't cure anything, but you won't care. Oh my God, what a wonderful idea. I think that is a great suggestion. And I think we are at the end of today's broadcast. Please accept my apologies for my raspy voice. And please accept my apologies as I toot my own horn for Coffee and Headlines being the best source of local news. You see, and some of you know this, but I'm going to make sure that the rest of you know this. I go through about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 local news sources. We don't read El Meridiano, for example. El Meridiano has all the gore stuff of people that get killed, of people who grabbed a machete and landed it on their next door neighbor. We don't read that kind of stuff. We go through about 8 local news sources 3 times a day, and then I arbitrarily select both news that are positive and news that I think you would want to know about. And then we break them down. We do a little bit of analysis. We do some research to make sure that they're accurate to the best of our ability. And then we present them here in this little half an hour get together. Oh, and then for your consumption, if you want to go back and look at the sources on your own, we publish the news notes, the show notes every day. So there is no shortage of information here at Coffee and Headlines. This is a time-consuming task. And yes, we take the luxury of asking people to contribute to that. And we do that because this Coffee and Headlines is not a pastime. It's our source of income, the primary source of income for this house. So if you find that your time here is worthwhile, the information that you receive is nurturing or gives you a good picture of what's going on, kindly consider becoming a supporting member or an occasional contributor with coffees. It certainly is much appreciated. Have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.